Hey, I'm Alice, and at age 14, I developed a rare skin condition called aqua urticaria, or water allergy. So whenever my skin gets in contact with water, I will have an allergic reaction that could kill me. That's why I changed to a private school with air conditioning, because I was even allergic to my own sweat. However, the other girls didn't like me. I guess it's because they were richer than me? They all wore designer clothes, and on my first day, I got the nickname Homeless Girl for wearing cheap clothes. I was a complete loner until a guy from the class next door approached me on my way to the bus stop. We had a lot of fun talking, and we continued chatting on Facebook afterward. I definitely had a small crush on him. But the next week in school, my classmate Ruby pulled me into a corner and said, "You've chatted with my boyfriend Mark." I responded, "Oh, I didn't know he was your boyfriend." But she pulled my hair and screamed, "Liar!" I got so scared that I started crying. And she said, "What's wrong with your face? You're crying blood." I responded, "I'm allergic to water, and therefore I'm allergic to my own tears." She started grinning and said, "Oh, that's good to know. So we better make sure you won't get wet." Then she gave me a slap in the face and let me go again. But I already had 2 big rashes all the way down my face. When Mark wrote me a Facebook message in the afternoon saying, "Hey, how are you?" I responded, "Thanks for not telling me you had a girlfriend. She tried to beat me up today for chatting with you." He said, "Damn, how does she know my Facebook password?" And then he wrote, "To be honest, I'm only with her because she's hot. Otherwise, I really don't like her." I responded, "Well, good luck." But the next day, Mark came over to me at school and said, "Hey, I just broke up with Ruby. She's such a hoe anyway. Do you want to do something on the weekend?" I know I should have said no, but he was too damn cute. So I agreed. We went to watch a movie, and I wore a hoodie, so no one could see me with Mark. But we live in a small city, so, of course, on the next school day, Ruby came over to my table, pulled my hair again, and said, "My friend saw you and Mark at the mall yesterday. If you think a dirty, poor girl can steal my boyfriend and get away with it, you are dead wrong. Next break, we're gonna beat the crap out of you." I quickly texted Mark. "She knows about us and just threatened to hurt me. Please come to my classroom as soon as the bell rings." Well, when the class was over, I tried to get out of the room quickly, but Ruby pulled me by my arm and pushed me into the corner. 2 girls were holding me while she lifted up a water bottle ready to pour it over me. But that's when Mark pulled Ruby by her hair and shoved her to the ground. He said, "If you're gonna touch her one more time, I'm gonna beat you into unconsciousness." I was a bit shocked to see Mark's violent side, but I also liked it because, of course, I want a guy who can protect me. Afterward, we sat down on a bench on the schoolyard. He said, "Don't worry about her." And I responded, "Thank you so much. You were my hero today." But then he tried to kiss me, and I said, "Whoa, I'm sorry, it's a bit too fast for me." I expected him to be understanding, but instead he said, "Gosh, why are you girls so boring?" And then he stood up and attempted to walk away. I didn't want to be alone, though. I was too scared of his ex-girlfriend, so I said, "Wait, it's okay. I'm gonna kiss you." And then I had my first kiss. It was not as romantic as I had hoped it would be, and Mark even put his hand on my behind, which I didn't really like. Then he told me that his parents would go out of town over the weekend and I should come over. I said, "Maybe another time. I'm not ready to come to your home." But he got really annoyed and said, "Look, either we're a couple or we're not. If you won't come over, I'm gonna find another girl." So I said, "Okay, I'll come by." I arrived around 8 p.m., and right after I had entered his house, he put his hand around my throat and he started kissing me like crazy. I pushed him away and said, "Stop it, I'm here to watch a movie." But as soon as the movie was over, he took me to his bedroom and made out with me. Suddenly, I was half naked in front of him, and it was just too fast for me. I didn't feel comfortable and said, "I don't want to do this." I could tell by his face that he was furious, but I didn't care and just left. When I got home, I received a message from him saying, "It's over between us." That's when I realized that he had only wanted me for you know what. Suddenly, I had no one to protect me against Ruby. So I did something I normally wouldn't do. I walked up to a guy in my class and started chatting with him. He was a very shy and quiet guy, but still cute. Afterward, we started hanging out together and even met over the weekends. I knew he liked me more than just as a friend, but he was too shy to confess his love to me. But when we went to a bar together and had a few drinks, he said, "Alice, do you like me?" I responded, "Of course, you are my best friend." But he said, "No, do you like me as a boyfriend?" And my honest answer would have been no, but I didn't want to reject him, so I said, yeah, I like you." It was so awkward, and then he kissed me, and I felt nothing. The next day, he even asked me if I wanted to go on a trip with him to Toronto. You see, my family never had much money, and I'd never left the US before, so I said yes. He had even booked us a nice hotel room, and that's where I had my first time. To be honest, I didn't enjoy it. I mean, I pretended to enjoy it because I didn't want to make him feel bad, but he just wasn't my kind of guy. As time went on, he continued spending lots of money on me. If I went to go shopping, he would pay for everything, and it didn't matter how much it cost. But when he told me he was thinking about marrying me and even having kids, I couldn't lie to him anymore. I said, "I'm sorry, but this won't work out. I just don't love you anymore." I saw he was about to cry. I felt so bad for him. I had never wanted to hurt his feelings, but at least I had told him the truth now.
Hey, my name is John, and I had a pretty normal upbringing. But everything changed when I turned 18. I was applying to college when I discovered that my social security number didn't match my name. I thought it was just a mistake and asked my school counselor for help. But he said that there might be another explanation. He went on to check my name in the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children database. And that's when we discovered that I'd been listed as missing for 15 years. I was so confused. I mean, this couldn't be true. Or, because I looked just like my dad, I knew we were related. And although my mom wasn't around, he had always told me that she had left us after giving birth to me. While I went back home, my school counselor contacted the FBI without telling me. They immediately arrived at our home to interview me and to arrest my dad. It was horrible to see him being taken away in handcuffs. And the next day, they introduced me to my mom. She was crying as she took me into her arms, calling me her baby and going on about how much she had missed me. She even told me we would never be separated again. But I had no clue who this woman was. It was just awkward. I wanted my mom to be happy, though, so we moved in together, and she told me how and why my dad had stolen me from her. Apparently, my parents split up when I was 3 years old, and they couldn't agree who should have custody of me. One day, when my dad picked me up after school, he drove us from Alabama to Ohio to start a new life, and my mom never saw me again. She told me how painful it was for her all those years, wondering where I was and if I was okay. At first, I couldn't believe that my dad had taken me away from my mother. It was such a cruel thing to do. But I still can't hate my dad. He raised me well. He always made sure I studied hard in school, which is why I'm one of the top students. And that's also why, when it was time for him to be sentenced, I said I didn't want him to go to jail, because he had taken such great care of me. The judge agreed that my dad was a good father, but stealing a child is still a serious offense. So now my dad's serving a 4-year prison sentence. I went to visit him recently, and he told me his version of why he had stolen me from my mother. He said that my mom had threatened to tell the police that he was beating me. So if he hadn't taken me away from her, my mom would have made sure he never saw me again. But of course, my mom says that none of that is true, and to be honest, I don't know who to believe. But I do know I forgive my dad. Currently, I'm living with my mom, and although I love her, it's weird because it still feels like she's a complete stranger. Don't get me wrong, I'm trying my best to build a relationship with her, but I don't think I'll ever love her the way I love my dad. Because he is the reason I became a responsible and honest person. Please let me know in the comments how you would handle this situation. Would you forgive your dad for stealing you from your mom? Thanks for listening, and please subscribe to this channel.